Russian President Vladimir Putin has hailed his soldiers' efforts in the Ukrainian war in front of thousands at a rally in the country's capital. He also met his Chinese diplomats and asked them to strengthen ties between the two countries. Sky's Diana Magna has the details from Moscow.
Busy day for Vladimir Putin. After his address to the Federal Assembly yesterday, which was in the room with him, in any case, parliamentarians, this was a moment for him to kind of address the nation and show himself as a man of the people. He did this once before last year in March, about a month into his invasion, and it was very much the same scene this time, rallying the country behind him, calling for unity, calling for support for men at the front line, with tens of thousands of cheering Russians brought in to the stadium to cheer him on and wave Russian flags. And it was interesting because outside the stadium you see rows upon rows of buses lined up because very often at these kinds of events, and this has been the case since Soviet times, employees from state companies are bussed in to fill up the numbers, to wave the flags, and then they're bussed back out again. That said, pretty much everybody that we spoke to did believe the sort of patriotic narrative that President Putin puts forward. They did believe that this was the West's fault, that, as one of them said to me, we must get rid of the American yoke. Another older woman said to me, you need to tell your governments to behave themselves. This was pretty much the sort of sense that I got from people at that rally. Of course, you're not going to get many people who aren't patriots turning up, but still, the feeling I have that in this country is that a lot of people do feel that way. And going back to the meeting that he had just before with China's top diplomat, who's been meeting with top officials here in Russia over the last 24 hours, it is understood that there may be a summit between Xi Jinping, the Chinese leader, and Vladimir Putin over the coming months. There are concerns that China is taking a sort of two-pronged strategy, really, in relation to Ukraine, that it says it's looking for peace, and we expect Xi Jinping to give a speech this coming Friday laying out peace proposals, whereas at the same time the US is concerned that they are considering about supplying lethal aid to Moscow. So we don't know the outcome of those meetings, obviously, but a lot of questions being asked about the Sino-Russian relationship, where it's headed. Vladimir Putin obviously wants to put a lot of emphasis on it because he wants to show that he is not isolated given Western sanctions. But I think China treads a very fine line, given the fact that economically it doesn't want to incur secondary sanctions by helping Russia militarily, and it is very, very much more intertwined in the global economy than Russia is at this stage.